Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're working through part 3 of the Retro2 machine over on Hack the Box. Now, Retro2 was originally a Vulnlab machine, but Vulnlab was acquired by Hack the Box. They're slowly migrating all the content over to Hack the Box. Now, if you know Vulnlab, you know that all the machines are rather difficult. You will get stuck, I will get stuck as we work through this machine, and here's the other thing different about this series. Generally, when you watch a YouTube walkthrough of a machine, you'll notice the walkthrough is like 15 minutes long, and the YouTuber makes no mistakes. That's because they solved it ahead of time. They have all the commands pulled up on the side screen, and they just type everything in as they go. That is not what I'm doing. So in this series, I'm giving you my live and raw attempt at solving the Retro2 machine. I have never done this machine before. I have no idea what to expect. I'm going into it completely blind. That means I'm likely going to make a bunch of silly mistakes. I'm going to do dumb things. If you've ever shared your screen at work, you know what I'm talking about. The moment you share your screen, you suddenly forget how computers work. That happens to me, but dial up a little bit because we have almost 90 people watching the live stream. Which, speaking of the live stream, you might notice that there are people on the screen right this way, right there. You're not hearing voices. You're not seeing random chat. These are real people. I am making this video while I live stream. If you've never been part of my live stream, you should. Make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell notification so you're notified when I live stream. But my new streaming schedule, at least after DEF CON, is going to be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, starting at about 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're around at that time, we'd love to have you join me and hang out with me. But let's go ahead and pick up right where we left off. Hey, real quick, if you appreciate my content, one of the best ways you can support me is by enrolling in one of my courses or become a member over on Ko-Fi. I currently have 3 courses available right now. The first one is Introduction to Hacking Methodology. If you are new to offensive security and CTFs and ethical hacking, this course is for you. It's beginner level, but will bring you up to speed rather quickly. My second course is Introduction to AWS Pen Testing. This will take you from beginner level to intermediate in the field of AWS pen testing and cloud pen testing. And finally, my latest course is Hands-on Phishing. This will teach you to do full phishing campaigns from the perspective of a pen tester or a red teamer. I cover everything from purchasing domains to configuring DNS and TLS to using GoPhish and Evil Jinx to do full phishing campaigns to bypassing MFA to even spoofing telephone numbers so you can do pretext calling alongside of phishing. And over on Ko-Fi, I have resume reviews, mock interviews, different membership levels, and you can even get my courses on Ko-Fi a little bit cheaper just due to the revenue share. So hey, whether you purchase my courses on Simply Cyber Academy or over on Ko-Fi, that really is the best way you can support me. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me, and hey, enjoy the rest of this video. So here I am in our notes, and if you remember, we spent like 30 minutes in part 2 literally just trying to open up a Microsoft Access database. I eventually had to download that Office 365 trial that you saw in part 2. We got the database open and we have some initial credentials of this LDAP reader and this string password. And we pulled it out of this script right here, and it looks like it's setting a variable for LDAP, so an LDAP connection. This actual LDAP connection is something I've seen on real internal pen test, not quite stored in a script, but I have seen it elsewhere. Like one example is on printers. There might be an LDAP user and LDAP connection, and you can actually get initial access from printers. I've seen that before on internals. But we're setting a connection, we're setting an object connection, and we're creating this object. We're passing it the username and the password for the AD provider. And it looks like it's just getting some information on staff members. Nothing super interesting here. It's importing the staff member successfully. But what this tells us is we have a username and a password right here. So I'm actually going to grab this and I'm going to do maybe an H2 field. And we'll say initial access to Active Directory. And I'm going to do a code block and drop in those credentials. We have the string user. CyberSense said, I present software for a living. Can confirm. Once the screen share starts, anything can happen. It's exactly. You guys are on TV. Thank you for being here. They say, we are real. Tyler's AI. I am a very advanced, depending on the day, sometimes very not advanced AI LLM model. But anyways, we have a username and we have a password. Anytime you have that, even on a real internal network pen test, is you want to see, hey, are these credentials actually valid? So let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to copy the password because I can memorize the username of just LDAP reader. And let's go over to the attack box. Remember, I'm trying to solve this entire machine using the pwn box, not attack box, but the pwn box. Here on Hack the Box, the pwn box is their built-in VM accessible via the browser. So far, I've been pleasantly surprised by the quality of it. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys. And if I ls over to my data, I think I had a folder for Retro2. You can see it right there. So I'm going to cd over to Retro2. And I have the hash and a few things there. I don't know how much files I can have in this my data before it runs out of space, but we'll keep working with it for now. Let's go ahead and verify, hey, do we actually have access as this user? One tool that we can use is netexec, which I'm pretty sure is built in, and it is. Beautiful. So we'll do netexec smb retro2.vl. We're going to pass it our username of LDAP reader, I believe, and our password from there. And I'm just going to see, hey, can I see any shares as this user? And you can see we do have valid authentication as the LDAP reader user. So I'm just going to grab this for our screenshot. Or not for our screenshot, rather for our notes. Jump back over to our notes if I can. And just showing that, yes, we have confirmed access as the LDAP reader user. And you can see from here, we can read the public folder. So that might be worth digging into. We're also going to want to do some Bloodhound loot. But because I noticed we do have read access to this folder, let's just see if there's anything interesting in that folder real quick before we launch a Bloodhound. We can do that with SMB client. I'm going to connect to it .vl public / I think it's capital U, but I always forget the syntax. I'm going to do a single quote LDAP reader. I think the password, you do that, and then you enter. Oh my goodness, not that. That's not what I meant to do. Let's try that again. Retro2.vl public -u LDAP reader. And then let's grab the password from our notes right here. And I'll paste that in. I actually did the syntax correct right away. Let's go ahead and do dir here. And, oh wait, we already had read access to public, didn't we? That's actually nothing new. It was actually in public where we found that database file, and I don't think there's anything in temp. So actually, that's not going to be super useful to us. So let's go ahead and run Bloodhound. If you've never used Bloodhound, it maps out attack paths in Active Directory via graphs. It makes it easy for us to follow. Incredible tool for enumeration. And it will show us, hey, what accounts are Kerber roastable? What are maybe some interesting privileges we have in the AD environment? We can actually run that directly from netexec. And I'll show you how this works. If we do netexec, I believe it's LDAP -u, and we'll do LDAP reader -p. We'll paste in our password. And then I always forget it. It's like Bloodhound collector all or something. I'm sure I messed that up. Yep, I definitely messed that up. So let's look up the netexec wiki real quick. If you've never used the netexec wiki, it really is an amazing resource. So let's check this out. We'll go to netexec. And let me make this full screen so we can see the sidebar. And if we go down to the LDAP protocol right here, you can see the Bloodhound ingester. Okay, it's --bloodhound --collection all. I was so close. --bloodhound --collection all, right? Collection all. All right, let's give that a shot. Oh, I guess it's a good idea to include the target that we're trying to run Bloodhound against. Now it says it could not find a domain controller. Consider specifying a domain or DNS server. I believe we can do DNS tags like that and then grab the IP from over here on Hack the Box. So let's grab the IP and paste that in for the DNS and hit enter. Okay, apparently it's DNS-server. Eventually I'll get the syntax correct. Now we just hope something happens and it doesn't error out. Ty, you're the best. Woke up early to finish the AWS course by you before I start office work. Well, thank you so much for purchasing the course, for your support. Really do appreciate it. It looks like we might be timing out on running Bloodhound. It usually doesn't take this long. We have a few other ways or methods that we can try to run Bloodhound. But knowing that this is a vulnerable machine, it's probably configured in such a way that Bloodhound's not going to work, just to make us cry a little bit inside. But that's okay. Let's look at our notes. LDAP was like running on this machine, right? Like it was accessible, I think. Yeah, LDAP right there, 389 and 3268. So LDAP is active. It is available. But you can see it seems to be timing out. I'll give it a second. Hey, Tyler, I'm a fresh grad into red teaming, but most entry-level roles I see are in SOC level 1, DevOps, or app dev. Given that, which track do you think makes the most sense to build solid experience? I would start in a SOC role if you want to get into red teaming. I really don't know what's going on here. We can try a different method. I'm going to open up a new tab here just so we don't have to wait. And yeah, I don't need to make it that big, I don't think. If we go out to my data, so on my GitHub, and I'll drop it here in GitHub, or in the chat. My GitHub is /Tenebrae93. You can grab this offensive security repo. It's just random scripts that I've made for doing different CTFs. And in here, if you go to the Active Directory one, I have a script for running Bloodhound. It's really just a wrapper around Bloodhound Python. But let's go ahead and run this. Our domain is retro2.vl. Our username is LDAP reader. Our password is whatever this password is right here. Our IP of the domain is right here. Hey, look at that. My script did it. And we have all of it. And I think this is still... Oh, did this eventually work as well? It did not. Nope. So my Bloodhound Python script, netexec did not work, but it would appear that my script did work. And that's why it's so important to be able to do things in more than one way. I'm going to go ahead and make a directory, and we're going to call it Bloodhound Loot. And I'm going to move all of these files to Bloodhound Loot. And then I'm going to move Bloodhound Loot to... We'll go... We're in offensive security. So my data... Maybe? Retro2. All right, now we can move to Retro2. All right, and if we CD into Bloodhound Loot, we have it there. So we were able to get the Bloodhound Loot. I just realized I did not show that in my notes. So let me just add that information to my notes real quick on how I ended up doing that. So I will say... We'll do an H3 for Bloodhound enumeration. And I'll just say, first, I tried to use Bloodhound ingester built into netexec, but it did not work. Instead, I used my script from GitHub, which is just a wrapper for Bloodhound Python, because I suck at remembering. And I can drop a link to my GitHub here as well, github.com. Oh, not like that. I'm thinking of YouTube. Tenebrae93. So there we go. Now we have the Bloodhound loot, but now we need to launch Bloodhound. And once again, I actually have a script for that. It's just a simple one-liner to launch Bloodhound. I think it will work on the Pwn box, but to be honest, I don't know how Docker and things are configured on the Pwn box. So we might run into issues. Let's find out and see what happens. If I CD over to offensive security, CD over to Active Directory, we have... Oh, do I not have it here? I must not have it on this one. We'll just grab it from my GitHub real quick. GitHub.com, Tenebrae93. Offensive security. Active Directory. I have like a launch a Bloodhound script, but it is just like a one-liner. This is all it is. So I'm going to copy that syntax right there, jump back over to here, and let's see if we can get Bloodhound loaded up. And I can't. Failed writing body. Really? Why? Is that link not exist anymore? No, it definitely does. Is it Docker Compose? There's their issue. Can I just install it? Let's see if that does it for us. Oh, and then I need to fix this. Error while fetching server API version, not supported URL scheme. Okay, I've never had this issue. Is this the pwn box? Is this some type of change? Let's go out and troubleshoot this a little bit. So if I go to Bloodhound Community Edition, let's check this out. Gosh dang, Google. If anyone is watching this from Hack the Box, you should just make the default search DuckDuckGo so we don't have to deal with Google. But maybe there's a different install process. I'm pretty sure I just ran Bloodhound like a week ago, though. I said accept. Download on GitHub. There's usually like a one-line command to run Bloodhound. All right, quick start guide for Bloodhound Community Edition. All right, we do have a slightly different process. Let's go ahead and do it this way. And I'll see if I can save it in my data folder. We have it, so we'll do tar xf bloodhound CLI. And now we have the Bloodhound. We'll remove the tar folder. And now it's Bloodhound CLI. Actually, I think I need to make it executable quick. And then I think it's install. It should be installed. I use the old with Neo4j. I always forgot how to configure that as well. This is the weakness of me not using my VM. Like my VM, everything is set up. Surely Docker's on here. Really? Bloodhound launched on the pwn box with just Bloodhound for me? Really? So it must be built in that way? Well, let me see if I can install Docker real quick, and if that doesn't work, we'll just try to launch Bloodhound, apparently. Who would have thought? All right, now we started Docker. Now if I do Bloodhound install... Is it... No way, that's all you have to do on the pwn box is just type in Bloodhound? Who would have thought? All right, we'll go with it. I'm happy about it. Cool. And I think the default isn't just Neo4j and Neo4j. That's nice. That's really nice. So it even configures it all for you. Let's just grab that for our notes. I'll have to look into what witchcraft they're using on the back end. but it's just a script. On the pwn box, you can launch Bloodhound just by typing Bloodhound. That is amazing. And so we have the syntax right there. I want to turn on word wrap here, or wrap code. And now let's jump. Oh, I was already there. Let me open up Bloodhound right here, and we will ingest our data, upload data. And we'll go over to Retro2. We have our Bloodhound loot, and I'm going to copy all of this and click open. And it looks like it is all complete. It's been a while since I've used this older version of Bloodhound, but we should be able to start searching for our user. Now, I recognize not everyone who is watching this knows what Bloodhound is. I like to think of Bloodhound sort of like Google Maps for hacking Active Directory. We choose our starting point, and from our starting point, we can look at its hack paths and how to get deeper and deeper into the environment. Bloodhound is a tool I use in every single internal pen test and every single Azure pen test, because it can do very similar things with Azure pen testing. But we have compromised the LDAP reader user. So what we want to do is right-click this user, and we will go ahead and mark user as owned. And let's look through some information about this user on the left side here. The main thing that we want to know is if they have any outbound object control. So we have a group membership. If we click that, he is just a member of domain users. We have no execution rights, and we have no outbound object control. So it doesn't actually look like our user is able to do much of anything. We can go over to analysis, and we can find out other things, like if we want to see who are the domain admins in this environment. We have Caroline James. I think there's a way we can right-click. It's been a while since I've used this. So it always shows the labels. I know there's a setting for that. Maybe it's just in settings. Always display. Always display. There we go. So we have Caroline James, administrator, and Alex Scott. If we can compromise them, then it's going to be good. Can you switch to dark mode? Man, you guys are picky. I don't know how on... Oh, dark mode. Whoops. There. Is that better for your guys' sensitive hacker eyes? But there we go. We're on dark mode. Let's see what other analysis that we can do when we look at this. Just looking through what would be most helpful. We can find all Kerberoastable accounts. And just that account, the Kerberoast ticket grinding ticket account. So nothing that we can really Kerberoastable. We can check ASREP roastable users that don't require pre-auth. Not something I normally see. It doesn't look like we have anything there. So nothing super useful to us really at all. Another thing that we can do, and I don't know if this is going to be in a vulnerable machine, but I have seen it in the real world where the help desk or someone sets a user's password in the description of the user. So we can go ahead and dump user information, and maybe there is something that's going to be there that's helpful to us. So let me go ahead and grab our user's password. Maybe. And -- users, I believe. But I'm not seeing it. I mean, we have administrator, and we have some descriptions. Every once in a while, you'll see a user that has their password set in the description box for the user account, but I'm not seeing it. We have LDAP reader, inventory, Sally Davy. Nothing that really stands out. An interesting admin account right there, all in this BLN 01 account. Geez, I'm trying to think of what to even check. We know it's Retro2. So that tells me we might just have an interesting, outdated, or older exploit. We could try So this has an unsupported operating system. Windows Server 2008 Data Center Service Pack 1. Like a very outdated server. So it makes me think maybe there's some like interesting privilege escalation. I'm pretty sure it's not just like vulnerable to Eternal Blue or anything crazy like that. But let's do a little bit of research into that. I'll just go here. Exploits, DuckDuckGo. Okay, it can't be Eternal Blue. Who knows? It's worth trying, right? But there's no way. There's no way on a VNet machine that it's going to be Eternal Blue and then we're NT System Authority. But I will say in the real world, on a machine this outdated, this would not be out of the norm. And so we'll set our host to retro2.vl. And you don't even technically need a username and a password to run this. It's just checking to see if it's vulnerable. So I'm going to hit run, and it does not appear to be vulnerable. Okay, that's kind of what I figured. It's generally, when it comes to VulnLab, it's not an easy like pray and spray exploit. It's usually a misconfiguration. So I have to think like, what are some ways that Windows Server 2008 could be misconfigured? That's funny. Print Nightmare is my guess also. Maybe like, what if you've never done a VulnLab machine, like that would not fit into the VulnLab creation process. It's almost always a misconfiguration. But you do have Retro2. Now, one thing that we can do is if we go to wiki.vulnlab.com. Oh, we could try password spraying. That's a good call. Well, let's look at what I want to see. Is it lab notes, I think? No, guidance. I think this is easy. No, okay, so for each one of these machines, there's like hints. There's Retro2. All right, so it says for user, look into shares, then follow the AD attack path. Root, there's a great blog by this guy on a no-fix vulnerability. And I mean, I don't technically have the user flag yet. I'm going to grab these hints right here. These hints aren't cheating by any means. Usually when you do VulnLab machines, they come with these hints. I'm just going to scroll to the top of my page, and we will add these hints. Okay, apparently I can't just grab the thing. I have to manually scroll. That's awesome. So look into shares, then follow the AD attack path. There's a great blog. Well, let's check out this blog, I suppose. But I don't have... Where's the blog? He has a bunch of blogs. Maybe it is some type of print nightmare. On Windows host, provide the attacker obtain network access and domain creds or gain local access, which obviously we do. This has been default behavior, blah, 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 blah. But this is technically like a patch, like this can be patched. Hey, what up, Attila? Good to have you here. If you were to disable the point and print security prompts as described previously, you would allow users to install non-package aware printer drivers, but you would also make the machine vulnerable to the original print nightmare exploit. A vulnerable point and print configuration would be as follows. So I wonder if it is this print nightmare. I might have to spend a little more time reading through that. And then we have print nightmare is not over yet. To make testing easier in my lab, I didn't set up a custom DNS server, rather an entry to the host file of my victim domain join machine. So we haven't compromised a domain join machine yet, so we can't add that. Let's look to see if he has anything else where he talks about privilege escalation. Oh, great. He has 22 of them. This is from May 19th, 2025. So this would have been after this machine came out. Okay, this might be interesting, giving a second life to a 10-year-old Windows vulnerability. I don't know which blog it is referring to. Let's check out this blog real quick. And I realize I'm actually at about the end of the recording for this part. But let's just spend a little bit of time looking at this. Chimichurri Reloaded, giving a second life to a 10-year-old Windows vuln when you have impersonation capabilities. Well, I don't have that. I don't have access to the machine, so I do not have impersonation capabilities. So I think before we can actually exploit this, what we need to do is we still don't have the user flag. So I guess a few ideas that we can do. I'm just going to jot these down for the next time we launch into this. I'm going to say to-do list, password spraying, maybe password reuse. I'm trying to think of any other things that we can jot down for to-do list, because what might be helpful, and you see this in the real world all the time, is password reuse. Maybe if we spray the password we have for the LDAP reader user, it's been reused by a different user, and that will give us access to a second account that will then give us the user flag. That's what I'm leaning towards, is what the next step is going to be, just looking over at my notes. We didn't see any cool pass in Bloodhound. That's what I'm going with. But we are at the 30-minute mark, over the 30-minute mark for the recording. So this concludes part 3 of working through the Retro2 machine. We didn't get super far, but hopefully you learned a lot in the troubleshooting and digging around and just the thought process that I shared. In part 4, we will continue working through this machine. I have no idea how many parts it will take for us to solve it, but hopefully giving you all of the information in real time and showing you, even me struggling as I work my way through this machine, you find it helpful. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I will catch you in the next one.